Okay, hi everyone. So this video is going to walk us through how to make your own stamp or symbol that's inspired by the Akan people and the Adinkra cloth that we've been looking at. So what I've done so far is I filled out these first two questions, which you'll need to do as well. The first one is asking you to think about a word, feeling, idea, or value that is meaningful to you. So, for example, I chose friendship. And then the second question is asking you, why did you choose that word? Or why is this word important to you? And I wrote, I chose this word because I'm still friends with someone I've known since third grade, and he is very important to me, slash, our friendship means a lot to me. All right, so after you've figured out what you want your symbol to represent, so my symbol is representing friendship, you're gonna move on to number 3, which says to use graphite pencil or charcoal, but I think we'll mostly be using graphite pencil to shade in the box below. And then it says use tissue or napkins to smooth it all out. So what we're doing here is creating what's called a ground. So a ground is just a smooth layer of graphite or charcoal or sometimes even paint that we are going to work on top of. And in this case, we're actually going to be erasing some of it. When I'm creating a ground, I'm not pushing super hard with my pencil. I'm trying to create just a smooth shaded layer. So I have one layer down. I'm trying to stay inside of the box as much as possible. And then once I have got this one layer down, I can add a second layer. Notice that this is not taking me very long to do. I'm just shading in the box. So once you have a pretty good layer of graphite on there, you can use a napkin or a tissue to smooth it all out. And you're essentially blending all of your pencil together to create a smooth gray ground. Okay. Right now, this is all what's called positive space because there's no empty space inside of my box. There's no white space, it's all shaded in. So right now it's all positive space. What I'm gonna do to create my symbol is I'm going to draw with my eraser. So I'm going to erase out different shapes to create a symbol that represents friendship. So I'm not gonna overthink this too much. And for you guys, I want you to just think about using 4 shapes to create your symbol. No more than 4, because then it's going to get a little bit too complicated. And so I'm thinking about the word friendship in my brain, but I'm also allowing myself to stretch and explore a bit. So coming in with my eraser here, and I'm lifting some of this ground. And I don't have a plan, I'm just kind of going with the flow, but I do know that I'm trying to create my first shape in my symbol here. So now that I've created my first shape with my eraser, this is all white space or empty space. So this is what we would call negative space, but we actually see a shape created out of negative space. So I'm going to continue doing this, thinking about how I can use shape to represent friendship, but also not being super hard on myself. So there's two shapes. There's three shapes. And once I've used my block eraser, if I want to get a little more detailed, I can actually just use a regular pencil eraser to clean up the edges of some of these shapes. I'm not too. Once you are happy with the general idea of what your symbol is going to look like, you can, if you would like to, continue to color in or shade in the area around it. So shading in the positive space to make those negative space shapes pop out even more. Okay, so now that I have an idea of what my final stamp is going to look like, I can start to actually make it. So I have a piece of foam and I have my piece of cardboard, which we'll be gluing the foam onto. But before we glue the foam onto there, we're gonna need to cut out the areas of negative space. So what I'm gonna do is start just by redrawing these shapes onto my foam. Here's where you get to kind of stretch and explore and even change your idea a bit. But what I'm doing is just trying my best to use this as a guide and redraw that onto my foam. Like I'm gonna start to use a pen to trace them out. What's happening here is that the negative space shapes, I'm going to need to cut those away or cut those out. So what I'm gonna do, instead of using scissors, I like to just start using the tip of my pen to carve them away. Now this takes some patience and it takes some persistence. So I'm not rushing this process. I'm just going over these lines and pressing down so that they start to cut through the foam. Do not force anything. Just continue to go around the shape with your pen until it just easily pops out by itself. You should not have to pull or tear anything. Now this shape is nicely coming out. And voila. Okay, so the last step is to glue my symbol onto my piece of cardboard. So I'm just gonna use liquid glue for this. And I'm going to just put dots. You don't need a lot, or else it's gonna get super messy. Okay, and there you have it. That's how you are going to make your own Adinkra inspired stamp using negative space shapes.